Warning! A lot of time has passed. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for The Flash, Season 4, Episode 1, The Flash Reborn. I'm your host, Dom. Joining me is Nikki.
Just me.
Just you.
Just me.
Unfortunately, Clio could not make it for the premiere. She's too busy being the Flash, running around Florida. So, yeah. She's trying to do everything she can there. Like, she's running all over Disney World. That's just how I picture it. It's just run everywhere. It's probably not how it is at all.
No.
But, yeah. Season premiere, what'd you think? Just
We all know how much of a fan I am of Iris, which means I'm
Iris.
not a fan. So her being like, I want to say like this particular episode, she was kind of a main focus because she did take on the new job for Team Flash and everything. She's kind of like
Team
boss
Kid
lady.
Flash?
No, it's not. No, that's no.
Team Vibe?
No. I don't know why they were trying to rename themselves. It's always going to be Team Flash. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't like Iris before, and I don't like her any better now. So, you know, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it because of all of the Iris. But I feel like that's not ever going to change. There's always going to be a lot more Iris.
I mean, there was plenty of other characters that, that shouldn't have consumed the whole episode for you.
No, you know me. I focus on one character, and it'll make it or break it for me.
It seems like you always focus on a character that you hate as opposed to a character that you like.
Oh, the characters that I liked in this episode were awesome. But the one, okay, yes. We can totally get off the Iris train because she can just go die. She should have died anyways. The whole peekaboo, the whole peekaboo fight chase scene was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite part was when they actually caught her and they zoom out and Wally's sitting there. He's like sitting like a little kid waiting for like story time in kindergarten, and he's knocking his feet together joyously. Like, he's just like, yay, we did it. And I thought that was really cute.
Yeah.
It's great that Cisco and Wally are working together though. Like, I liked the duo.
Yeah,
it worked very well.
Red Bandit in chat also says Iris pissed him off this season.
Oh.
So
yeah.
I mean, Iris wasn't the most ideal character, but I didn't focus on Iris, the whole character. That didn't stop me from enjoying the episode. Iris was pretty much acting like Kara was acting on Supergirl. It was almost like the exact same parallel. Like, they both lost the love of their life, and they're both consuming themselves in their work. Like, they were they're basically the same character at that point. And then it's really funny because I saw parallels in that, and then when they were trying to crack the code that Barry was deciphering, writing all over the wall, which we'll get to in a bit, Caitlin said something, it's all Greek to me, and then Cisco goes, great Julius Caesar, and then, or he said something along those lines, and then the exact same line was used an hour later when Legends aired, and it was just like, I'm seeing a lot of parallels between all the episodes of the genre, like this shared universe right now. So I don't know, I thought it was interesting. It didn't bother me as much as I think that I normally would, but I don't know.
I didn't catch on the parallels in Flash, but I did see some things in Legends that we'll talk about later. But like, I see in chat a lot of people feeling the same way I feel about Iris.
Yeah, great Caesar's ghost. That's what it was. Both Cisco muttered that line, and I think it was Stein mutters it in Legends. But yeah, Um, we'll get to Legends at our next podcast though.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I really liked the return of Peekaboo. That was good, and they said that their success rate for capturing criminals is like 1 out of 3.
Yeah,
You know,
1 out of every 3
so
or something like that.
not that good.
I think another thing I noticed was Peekaboo is actually she's one of the new team members in a new Thor movie that's coming out in November.
Is she?
I am pretty dang sure. She looks very familiar. Like she's the character that has a lot of silver paint on her face in the Thor movie. Um, so
Uh,
just,
I'm gonna look that up right now. I don't believe she is, but no.
no, I guess I somebody else then
Yeah,
that looks very familiar, like similar to her.
yeah. She played one of the main characters in Ravenswood.
I see that, yeah.
That's where I know her from. It's like she looks very familiar to me, and I didn't quite catch on until I'm looking at her page right now. But yeah,
Oh, and she was in Asylum. She was what's his face's wife. Okay.
yeah.
All
Alma
right.
Walker in
Yep.
the Asylum. Yeah, but yeah. So it's just like I don't know. Iris, yeah, she was bugging me. It felt a lot like Kara. Um,
Hmm.
Kara seemed to handle it, I think, better than Iris did. Iris is
No.
no. You think Iris handled it better?
Actually, yeah. I mean, Kara came around at the end of the episode, but Iris was still having doubts.
I don't know, because my whole reasoning for it is Kara handled it better because she still doesn't have Mon-El and she came around, and Iris only came out of it when Barry came back. So I don't think Iris handled it better at all.
I don't know.
So,
Neither one of them are likable right now, so
well, Kara is. She came around at the very end of the episode, so
she's
she's
still
fine now.
playing it.
No, Kara's
Mhm.
fine now. Um, but we do learn that Julian has moved back to London, so he is no longer around. Um,
Thought they said he was slotted for a few
he
episodes this
might
season.
he might be, but he's not main cast anymore. So
Hmm.
they uh, I think it was Joe mentioned during the dinner when Cecile was like, yeah, I think you should get rid of all your records so I have more room for my stuff.
Oh my
And
God, I just felt wanted to strangle her. I'm like, you do not, no, no, you do not mess with somebody's collectibles. No, that's a big no-no. That just shows you how selfish she is.
mm-hmm.
I don't like her either.
She was joking around. She's like, "Oh, why don't you take them and bury them?" You know, because Joe had said, "Oh, I'm gonna have them in the casket with me." She goes, "Well, why don't you bury them now, and then you could join them later?" You know, and he's like, "Oh, you got jokes. You got
Mm.
jokes." So you know, even Iris, she's like, "Oh, no, 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 you don't mess with those." You know, like, but they were all joking around. So, um, so while this is all going around, we get Samurai uh, to fly into town with wings. He's a samurai with wings. Um, and he drops down, and Wally starts speaking Japanese to him. And even Cisco's like, wait, you could speak Japanese?
It makes sense because not only could you would think Wally could, run fast, but he could speed read and absorb the knowledge.
Well, speed read, but I don't even know if that's something that I think that might be a skill he gained beforehand because he was a street racer beforehand. A lot of times,
That's true.
street racers deal with foreign cars,
But he seemed to be pretty
and
fluent. I mean, that
yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's like not entirely speedster thing that he gained, but I think he had some of it at least beforehand, and maybe uh, fine tuned it between then. So, but yeah, the samurai demands the Flash, or he's gonna destroy the city. And Cisco's like, "What are you gonna do with a sword against us?" And then all of a sudden, this giant energy pulse comes out of the sword and like I don't even know what the hell just happened, and I'm sitting there as dumbfounded as Cisco and Wally.
Oh, not only were they dumbfounded, they were almost knocked out.
Yeah,
So, no, it was like I want to say it was like an energy wave, like maybe like like same kind of like you know how when say something explodes and you get that first like wave of reverb from the energy being expelled. That's kind of what I feel like that was. It's just that it was way more visual.
yeah,
Like you actually saw it.
yep. Um, and so they're trying to figure out what to do because Barry's obviously gone. It's been 6 months, right?
Hmm.
So if they don't bring Barry to the samurai, the town's gonna go. So Cisco said he's been working on this plan to get Barry back the whole time. He's been talking to Felicity, to Tina, Tracy, Harry, Curtis, everyone that he could think of that's, the top minds. Everybody except Ray Palmer. Never mentioned him once.
He is not a top mind. He is one of the dumbest smart people you could ever run
Yeah, I
into.
guess. I guess that's true. And they seem to have come up with a way to potentially get Barry back. So he said, Cisco's like, I'm just missing a few things. So he vibes and finds Caitlin where she's been hiding this whole time.
Mhm.
Apparently, she's been a bartender. Don't know exactly where, but I'm assuming it's in Central City as still.
Mhm.
So Cisco goes and visits her, and in the meantime, tells off this guy with one good eye. He's got like a glass eye or a blind. It's he definitely can't see out of the eye. It looks like it's a blind eye, but it could be
Yeah.
glass too. But I think glass would have a better pupil instead of a white pupil in there. So I'm just gonna say he's completely blind in that eye.
Maybe that's just his fashion sense. Maybe he
Could
wanted
be,
just a white glass ball for an eye.
could be.
Who knows?
I would just leave the hole there. That's just me, but
It's,
yeah,
it's a little bit more intimidating that way.
yeah. And I
No,
would
I was
not have an eye patch either. I would just walk around with it.
see Cisco has grown some big ass balls because if he even noticed that that guy was approaching him, he would have shat his pants in season one. So when he is going up and down this guy, I mean, like, get the fuck out of here. And in short, we're shortening down what he said.
Right.
I was like, oh damn,
Yeah.
Cisco.
Yeah, he's just like, go buzz off, whatever, and
Hmm.
he tries to convince Caitlin to come back, and I'm just like, yeah, like that's gonna work. And she's like, actually, my shift gets off in an hour. Meet you then. I was like, what? So apparently, her and Cisco stayed up all night, toying with the, I forgot the gun now,
It's a bazooka. It's like the something bazooka.
the speed bazooka or
Yeah,
something.
the Speed Force bazooka or
Yeah, that's
whatever.
what it was. Because we were like, Speed Force Cannon sounds better. Is Cannon and Bazooka that they were going back and forth with last season.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the Bazooka, and so the next morning they get the team together, and they go to where Barry first started to learn how to use his powers and stuff like that. They said they need some
Without
luck.
Iris because she was a major wench about bringing Barry back, being like, "Pff, you don't know, you can't do it, whatever." Like,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, and like I was
yeah,
just about to say that Iris comes into the place and everybody's gone. Like she's trying to get Cisco to pull up some information on the screen. He's not there, so she tracks where the van is, and we cut away to them. So they're working on this thing called the Quark Sphere, which has Barry's DNA in it, and they have to do something, charge up the quark matter, and fire this thing in, and it's supposed to hone in on Barry's signature in the Speed Force and replace the Quark Sphere with Barry, so the sphere tricks the Speed Force into thinking Barry's still there, so that way the
it's not gonna
prison
work that
still
way.
has, someone in it. But there's a system failure, so
Hmm.
does not seem like Barry's coming back.
I
So
know.
Iris goes on fighting the team about, bringing Barry back. This is why, because I knew it would fail, all this stuff. In the meantime, Naked Barry comes running through town. And as Red Bandit said, so Barry runs out of a portal and flashes a family in a van. Yep,
Mhm.
totally did
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So he runs 300 miles away from town, collapses, and the Central City Police picks him up, brings him back to town. Everybody goes to visit him. They're just like, they can't believe he's back. They go visit, and Barry is literally insane.
Mhm.
He's speaking complete nonsense, drawing symbols on the wall that seemingly mean nothing, which Cisco later translates into "this house is bitchin'." So even what he's writing means nothing. Like, it's still garbage, jumbled
Mhm.
gibberish. But they try waking him up out of a coma. Like, they inject him and bring him back to Star Labs. They try waking him out of the coma, and they do it the same way they did to Barry in season 1 when he came out of the coma to Lady Gaga's Poker Face playing. Didn't work. Still insane. Barry then proceeds to run around the lab, trashing the place, and all of a sudden, Frostbolt comes in and knocks Barry out. And I'm like, oh, good. We have Killer Frost back. But then we see Caitlin wielding a cold gun, saying, "Were you expecting someone else?" And I was like, yeah, actually, I was.
Mhm.
So they put Barry in a containment unit, and in the meantime, Wally gets the idea to dress up like the Flash and go fight the samurai. But his cover's blown,
Mhm.
and the sword gets sliced right through his fibula. We see Caitlin fixing him up later, and she's like, "If you weren't a speedster, I'd be amputating your leg right now." Barry's like, Wally's like, I gotta go back down. I'm fine. How long is this gonna take? 4 hours? No, I'm good now. And he gets up and he almost collapses again. So he's nowhere near ready. But Cisco keeps pushing this new suit that he's been working on, and I just want to say, in advance, I saw the preview for next episode, and some of the modifications that Cisco has on this suit are absolutely ridiculous. One of them is like an inflatable raft. The suit just like blows up like a balloon. And it malfunctions and does this while Barry's doing something. He's like, why would I need this? So, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Cisco, why?
We'll have to see next episode, but yeah. So Iris kind of has a chat with Barry, thinking she could break through to him, and she explained that the reason why she's been fighting everyone is that she was worried that if she slowed down, she would notice Barry wasn't behind her. Like, she had to keep moving forward, so she wouldn't fall apart. And I get that. It's the same thing Kara is doing.
It was actually her interaction, that particular interaction with Barry, that sent him off on a fucking rage and running through Star Labs and trashing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Iris, just stop.
Yeah. So when she cannot get through to Barry this way, she decides to put herself in danger. She goes and walks right up to the samurai and said, "Take me. The Flash will find me." I was like, are you kidding me, Iris? Like, what? But
I'm gonna say it again. S.T.A.R should have killed her last season.
But it worked. That's the worst part.
It did work. Only because Barry wouldn't have known unless Joe went to the freaking containment center and was like, "Oh my god, Iris is gonna die." Otherwise, Barry would have just sat there and wrote his little fucking symbols and said his rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
And Iris would be dead and I'd be okay with that. But I was actually kind of hoping we'd have Crazy Barry for a couple more episodes. It's like it happened too fast.
I didn't like Crazy Barry. I'm glad that it was only a half episode arc.
Well, I feel like his recovery was too fast. Like, he went from
He is a
crazy
speedster.
Mentally, though,
Yeah.
like, his brain works at a normal pace.
They said his brain functions were growing 4 times.
Yeah, right now, yeah, but like as a regular speedster, like typically their brain works normally like anybody else's.
Well,
So
they did explain it off. They did say his brain was accelerated 4 times the speed, so that explains how his brain
I
healed.
I feel like
But it's gonna come up. It's not done. This is gonna have residual effects. There's no way that this is over.
I
There's
feel
no
like
way.
easing into a more stable Barry would have been better than just like, oh, hey, I'm back, you know.
I like the light switch. The crazy 1 minute, fine the next, and I think we're gonna see that come and go as the season progresses. We're gonna see normal Barry for a little bit, and then Crazy Barry is gonna kick in because the reason why I say that is because Joe asked Barry, like about his recovery and stuff like that, and he said that he doesn't remember acting crazy. He doesn't even know how he knew Iris was in trouble. So that line right there, that he doesn't even know, that leads me to believe we're going to see this. It's going to come back. So, but yeah, we find out the samurai's a robot, and we see an assistant later confirming the Flash is back. And then she's talking to her boss, which we find out is the Thinker, which is going to be a great villain for this season because seasons 1 through 3, we've had speedsters.
Hmm.
Season 4, we're moving away from that. We're getting some guy that's going to outwit Barry. It's basically the fastest man alive meets the fastest thinker alive. So, should be
See,
should be really interesting, and especially with Barry's brain on the fritz, that's gonna play into
yeah.
this.
Um, when I first saw the Thinker, like when his chair turned around, I thought of Xavier from the X-Men, and also Picard when he was taken over by the Borg in Star Trek. I got this mishmash of characters sitting in that chair going, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, he's hooked up to all kinds of devices and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but Cisco asks Iris, I mean Caitlin rather, if she's back on Team Flash. Are we gonna see you tomorrow? Basically, she said, "Yep, you will." But she goes to the bar, and this is where we find out she knows the One-Eyed Man,
Hmm.
and she goes in and tells him that she's out.
She quits.
Yeah. Well, it's not just quits the bar. It seemed like they had something else going on, like a
Yeah,
side job or something.
yeah, she's working under his superior.
Yeah.
He's like the middle man.
Yeah.
So like when she said I quit, well, not only was she be like she was walking out of the bar, she was trying to quit that group she's involved with.
Yeah. So he grabs her, and that's the worst thing he could have ever done in his life because Killer Frost popped out
Hmm.
and slammed him through a pinball machine, and then almost froze his arm off and snapped it off.
Hmm.
And Red Bandit in chat said, "Did anyone else cringe when Caitlyn said you won't like me when I'm Frosty?" And I was like, all I could think of is the Hulk. You know, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I thought of Elsa. Seriously, because I guess that's just the thing now. Anything that has to do with like an ice lady, it's like, oh, it's Elsa from
Hmm.
Frozen.
Well, the line,
Oh,
"Don't make me
I know
angry.
the
You wouldn't like
line.
me when I'm angry." That's the Hulk, and then that was also used in the Edward Norton film, but he changed it to like hungry. You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry. Instead at one point. And that one I actually laughed at, but the Frosty one just didn't do it for me. I was just like not feeling
No,
that.
I think I mean there is like a cringe factor with the Flash. It's campy, and that's just part of their humor. Um, it was it wasn't great. It wasn't that great of a line. I can completely admit that because I cringed at that. But what do you expect from a split personality? Because that's what um Killer Frost and Caitlin are.
Yeah, it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Exactly.
Um, but we
Sorry.
see like Killer Frost go out into the street, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go wreak some havoc now," and then all of a sudden, like, she gets repressed, and she turns
Hmm.
back into Caitlyn, and it's like, okay, what's going on? And
I feel
you did mention to me that Caitlyn's
mhm,
wearing something around her
her
neck. It's like a
neck.
wide kind of rope thing. So
Yeah.
it's not the pendant, but it might be something that functions similar as the pendant.
I
It's
feel like, it is a long rope, but we can't visually see it because it is going in under her shirt. I mean, she's not going to go like, "Woohoo, here it is." That's not going to happen. Um, but I was also thinking more on it, maybe it is some sort of jewelry pendant thing again. Maybe it is spelled or something, or it is scientific. And in that case, if it has anything to do with science oppressing her powers, I feel like her mom has some hand in it. Maybe her and mommy got together. I
yeah,
mean, we know that they don't have the greatest relationship, but maybe they push things aside to figure this out.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Overall, I really did like this episode. I thought it was a great opener. I mean, Iris aside, I think the general consensus is none of us really like Iris, but I didn't let that
No.
affect me for the whole episode. Um,
The banter of what to call the team was annoying, but I mean, at the same
that
time, it
wasn't
was
even Iris.
entertaining.
That was
No,
that
that had
was
nothing to do with Iris.
yeah.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
was
Like,
all Cisco and Kid Flash going back and forth. I love
I,
Cisco's like Team Kid Flash. That's just too many syllables. Like
it is. It
that's like,
really is.
yeah. So I don't know. You have anything else for this episode? What did you think of the samurai? I guess.
He was a robot.
Well, yeah,
I'd like to know if it's the swords that are super powerful, or if it was the combination of him being a robot and the swords.
yeah.
Maybe the power.
I think it was technology.
Yeah, like was it him that was the source of the whatever it was that came out through the sword, or like I don't think they're going to explore it. Not right away, anyways. I feel like that particular tech will come up again because it did do a good whammy on everybody. I think it would actually affect Barry too if he wasn't expecting it. So
Yeah. Marco Minko says in chat, "What if Caitlyn said winter is coming?"
I
Now we're
mean,
throwing all of the Frost winter references from every series into one.
to be fair, right before their winter break, usually there is a Christmas episode, so she wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah, that would be awful. So next episode is called Mixed Signals. Um, Barry and Iris go to couples therapy.
Yeah.
Barry has his hands full when he takes on a dangerous meta who can control technology while also confronting an obstacle in his personal life, the ramifications of abandoning Iris. For 6 months, or for abandoning Iris for 6 months to abandon the Speed Force.
To balance
Meanwhile, hmm?
to balance this Speed Force?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Gypsy breaches in for a hot date with Cisco, but she gets annoyed when his work keeps them apart. So, it seems like she's fallen for Cisco now. It's not a one-way street with her just kind of accepting it. Seems like she's head over heels for Cisco as well, and now she's getting aggravated when work gets in the way. So that should be interesting.
I just, it's like Barry and Iris goes to couples therapy, and it's because, there's ramifications of abandoning her. Well, you would have been dead if Barry didn't leave you. So seriously, take just, grow up a little bit. Seriously, just stop.
Yeah. I don't know.
Iris, stop.
I think couples therapy could be really entertaining if done right. So I'm not rolling my eyes quite yet. We'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
Because I just see Iris whining the whole time, and I want to do like Homer Simpson strangling Bart to her because I can't stand her.
I think
That like,
you whine about Iris more than Iris actually whines herself.
no, I complain. There's a difference.
Red Bandit says the samurai jackass line was funny. It was. It
It
was.
was, yeah.
So But I think that does it. All in all, I think this was a great season opener. I think it leaves the right amount of questions, the right amount of intrigue as to what's coming. But Nikki, where can people find you?
On Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyYvenom24.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all and more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, MySpace, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Marco, Red Bandit, Lee, thank you guys so much for joining. And and until next time, see you guys later. Why are you nodding your head?
I'm not.
I saw it.
Yeah, I nodded before you went to the screen.
Oh.